With so much emphasis placed on your resume in the job search process, you may be a little nervous about sharing the resume you have now. I mean, what if your resume stinks? Do you have to put your search on hold until you fix it? Well, it depends. There are times when you do need a resume and times when you don't. Don't let your job search stall just because you don't have a ready for primetime resume. It used to be that the only job of a resume was to get you a call for an interview. These days, to get even to that point, your resume needs to make it through the applicant tracking software systems, or ATS, that most employers use. ATS systems cut down labor time reviewing resumes, which is awesome for busy HR departments, but it's not so great for job seekers who are trying to figure out how to get their resumes seen. For your resume to get through ATS, it must be formatted in a way that scans well. That includes an appropriate layout that allows the information to be parsed correctly. You'll also need the right keywords for it to be found, which means you'll have to tweak your resume every time you apply for a different position. All this is to say that for online applications, you're unlikely to get very far if your resume stinks. Thankfully, though, that isn't the only way to find a new job. Some hiring managers will insist that you need a resume to look for a job. In some cases, that is true. But to get your foot in the door, the resume requirement is often not a requirement at all. Here are 3 scenarios where you likely won't need a resume. Number 1, instead of just applying to jobs you find online, you can access opportunities through networking. You can network online through LinkedIn or in person at a variety of events. You can also do online research to meet the right decision makers that will be beneficial for your job search. All this work gives you direct access to the hidden job market, and it won't matter as much what your resume looks like. That's because your first impression isn't your resume, it's you. Number 2, another way to get access to opportunities is by working with a recruiter. Often, recruiters are sourcing candidates who aren't actively looking for a job, so they may not have an up-to-date resume. In that case, a recruiter will work with you to help you get a resume together before you send it out to the company to interview. If you do send your not-so-great resume to a recruiter, they're likely going to spend a little time with it because they don't rely on the ATS systems to review resumes. So they're going to spend that time, they're going to call you with questions, even if your resume stinks. And then number 3, if you've already secured an interview, if you manage to get an interview, a stellar resume isn't going to be as important. You may want to show up at your interview with a document that shows your experience and accomplishments, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, the goal of a resume is to get you an interview, and you already got one, so you're already halfway there. In many ways, your LinkedIn profile is an online representation of your resume. It's just much more conversational and flexible, and it allows you to include additional information that won't fit on a 1- to 2-page resume. You can beef up your profile with examples of your work, media coverage you've secured, websites you've developed, and testimonials from colleagues, just as some examples of how you can turn it into a portfolio. Remember that LinkedIn is one of the top ways recruiters and hiring managers source candidates, so you'll want it to be part of your job search and toolbox regardless of what kind of resume you have or anything else that you're doing in your search. Make sure your profile is optimized and that you're really using the platform, even if your resume stinks. If you are launching a job search and haven't yet created or dialed in your resume, don't worry. You can still move forward without a great resume. While you're looking for a new job, work on improving your resume, but remember, it's just one tool in your toolbox. You have others. Some things to remember from this lesson. You need a well-formatted and ATS-friendly resume to get seen by the automated systems most employers are using if you're applying for positions online. You probably won't need a great resume if you're leveraging your network, working with a recruiter, or have already secured an interview. No matter the status of your resume, be sure to optimize your LinkedIn profile and rely on that as a way to showcase your value.